Good evening, viewers. For this particular video, I'll be presenting the back end of the FitMe Kotlin Android application, or should I say rather the developer's end, because I will show you the front end code as well. But yes, this is about us, about us pages. Uh, the as page, also part of the workout. Now, the food intakes, this works well with our API to store food in our database. The food goes with the calories and then it's stored in a system where other users can actually interact with one another and um, read their food or the foods that they stored in the database as well and share it amongst one another. And then what it stores the database and the amount of calories. The API uses the amount of calories and the type of food that you eat. The other thing that the API does is that it's supposed to wait. Let me go to it. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's supposed to read from a food library. Yes, our API is supposed to read from a food library on top of adding food that the user does on their own. It reads from a food library, and from that food library, you have access to many other foods out there that you can use for your calorie counter. This is the authentication API. See, it reads food and then it gets all the foods stored. And this is when you add the food. Yeah, I see. All the food stored in the API database. And then this is when you add your own. And then this is authorization responses, again, exercises. And then, yeah, let me skip to the important stuff, the notification. So the notification is responsible for sending notifications from our app to the database. This needs to be adjusted. Requires permission. Oh, okay. This needs to be adjusted, but it's adjusted in the final product. Anyway, yes. So what it does is that the app sends you notifications to tell you that it's time for the user to train, the user being us. It's time for us to train or do perform workouts, or it reminds you of your daily counter. And what it also does is it pushes a pop-up notification if you reach your calorie limit. If your calories were to eat 2,000 in a day, once you reach 2,000, it sends you a notification. It would say, oh, you're doing a little too much now. Going back, yes, this repository is used for our Firebase. This is where we push our data into our Firebase. Yes, some of these functionalities are operational because they are used asynchronously. Food sync, and then yes, once everything is stored in the database, it's pushed to our Firebase API, and the food is saved online basically. But yes, this is it. What else? Yes, and then the users who are registered in our database, they're also saved in our Firebase database. Every user that's registered or logged in. And then what's the last thing that I wanted to, oh, for the login, another feature that we implemented on the third part of the application is the Auth0 authentication and biometric authentications. Yes, biometric authentication. So what this allows us to do is to use biometrics for our phone features, for ourselves, for our app features in our phone, and then it also allows us to use Auth0 to as a sign in third party single sign in that, yeah, basically access single sign in login. So if you don't log in using the local DB or a local user, you can log in using Auth0, or you can log in using Google in our application. And that will be all for the back end code. I mean, did we add anything? Oh yes, the last thing that we needed to present is the night mode. Is it night mode or dark mode? Yeah, night mode. Oof. Yes, the last thing that needs to be done in our app is the night mode, the back end for the night mode. But we used layouts. So what we did, the code for the night mode, when you go to settings, it just basically switches the screen from the red normal user interface to black. You'll see it on the running app application. So the reason why I didn't use the emulator is because it keeps crashing, and I think it's too slow. It doesn't support. See, Gradle was done a long time ago. Things like Chrome and whatnot keep crashing the emulator, so we instead recorded it on the phone to make it easier for us. And that will be all. Thank you.